One of the community's favorite things to do leading up to the draft is compare the top draft talent to current and former players in the league. Sometimes they're pretty spot on, but sometimes they leave us scratching our head looking back. So today, we're going to look at the worst comparisons from the most recent draft class based on what we have seen so far. So if you guys like the content, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Let's go for 23 likes on today's video, and let's get into this. Today's video is sponsored by PrizePicks. It's a player prop site that's legal in most US states. They just give you lines for certain players and you pick over or under. You can win up to 10 times your entry. I've truly been having so much fun just making one before watching the games, and today I feel like it's smacking. A lot of eyes are going to be on this 76ers vs Bucks game, so I decided to go with Tyrese Maxey's over on points. With Curry out and Harden yet to take the court, I think this is a good spot. I decided to add some correlation, going with Joel Embiid's over on assists. Expecting a decent game, I'm also taking the over on Giannis's points, rebounds, and assists. If you guys have been watching for a while, you know I usually have a three-pointers made on here, but today we're switching things up. For some reason, since getting to New Orleans, CJ McCollum has been averaging 7 rebounds, and the line is at 5, so give me that. Boom, the quadruple over. And if this hits, my 20 bucks becomes 200. If you guys want to play along, just go to the link in the description, use code Jimmer, and they're going to give you a deposit match up to $100, which is pretty insane. Thank you PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. For this video, we're gonna have players on here mainly for 3 different reasons. Either their comparison was disrespectful due to the player they are now, the comparison was just disrespectful due to the player they got compared to, or they just ended up being way different than we thought coming into the draft. I think we should kick things off with a rookie that's been on absolute fire lately. Mr. TikTok sensation himself, Mr. Bring Me a Shot, Josh Giddy of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I'm not going to act like Giddy was an easy player to compare to in the draft process. He had a very quick rise to becoming the 6th overall pick. He was a 6'8" point guard from Australia. Most of his stock was coming from his potential rather than his chance to be an immediate contributor. With all that said, I think we saw an extremely lazy comparison. As we just said, he's from Australia, so the comparison we saw was another Australian, Mr. Joe Ingles. Not sure comparisons have anything to do with where a player is from, but that's really the only thing that strongly connects the two. Ingles has made a name for himself with his versatility, being able to play off ball as a knockdown three-point shooter, while also having the ability to run the second unit if necessary. But for Giddy, we're dealing with an oversized, true point guard that needs the ball in his hands for success. In just half a season, has cemented himself as one of the best playmakers in the whole entire league. He looks like a future triple-double machine, as he just had them in back-to-back games, including his nearly 30.1 in the Garden. I like Ingles, but this comparison is just not great. But to be fair, as we said earlier, he was a really hard player to compare to, especially before taking the NBA court. For a player that hasn't really lived up to the expectation of their comparison, or just really hasn't hit the mark, is Cade Cunningham and Luka Dontich. Now, there is one thing I want to make very clear. This is very early on in these players' career. As time goes on, these players could make their comparisons look much better, but Cade Cunningham getting the comparison over and over again of none other than Luka Dontich seems a little bit ridiculous in retrospect. Now, when people were giving him this comparison, I don't think they were expecting him to become a top 10 player in 2 years. Rather, this comparison was coming from their style of play. What really had people coming to this conclusion was their ability to use their size and their different moves rather than their athleticism. Now, despite a rough start to this season, he's actually looked pretty good as it's gone on. Before missing a few games with injury, he was on a solid 11-game stretch, averaging 18, 5, and 5, shooting 41% from 3. But I'm not seeing a lot of Luka Dontich. When Luka came into the league, regardless of his efficiency, it was very clear he was going to be a serious problem. From day one, the game just slowed down for him, which is always a huge indicator for success going forward. It felt like he knew what he was doing in every scenario. He had a refined step back, super strong floater, and used all that to get to the line at an amazing clip. I had a lot of hope for Cade when I saw him in the summer league, jacking up threes off the dribble, doing that behind the back step back thing practically every possession he had the ball. But once getting to the NBA court, it took him a while to get comfortable. Now that that's happening, we're starting to see the player we wanted. He's amazing in the pick and roll. He's shown off some impressive moves, including that step back and a turnaround midi, but the Luka Doncic resemblance is just not really there. Now again, I'm not saying that he was supposed to have the success of Luka Doncic. All I'm saying is if he ends up doing that, it's going to look a lot different. One that's just laughable now is Franz Wagner, the 8th overall pick by the Magic, getting the comparison of Nemanja Bialitsa, a guy that for the last 7 years has been a solid stretch big in the league, but also a guy that has career high averages of 12 points and 6 rebounds, career averages of 8 points and 5 rebounds. Now, I know Wagner was looked at as a raw prospect coming in, and a lot of people like myself weren't expecting much anytime soon, but man, has he blown that comparison out of the water. He surpassed anything Bialitsa has ever done midway through his rookie season. He's legitimately been one of the best players from this class so far, showing how well-rounded his game is. He's averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 47% from the field and 36% from 3. The numbers have gotten nothing but better as the season has gone on. It's clear he's a gifted scorer, but this is also a guy that came into the draft getting a lot of attention about possibly being a point forward. He's also proven to be a solid defender, all things Bialitsa can't really relate to strongly. Now, it's not like I was showering Wagner with elite comparisons, so this is more props to him than anything. Next, we've got his teammate Jalen Suggs, the 4th overall pick in the recent draft. It's crazy looking back that he was looked at as one, if not the safest and most NBA-ready prospect in the entire draft, and rightfully so. He was a freshman floor general on one of the best teams in the country at Gonzaga. Everything was there: the defense, the playmaking, the scoring. We saw comparisons like Jason Kidd, De'Aaron Fox, Drew Holiday, and Kyle Lowry. Since getting to the NBA court, he's been one of the most disappointing players and is miles from looking like any of those comparisons. He's averaging 12 points, shooting 37% from the field and 23% from 3. It seems like this has shot his confidence, really bringing down the other aspects of his game that had people so excited about him. He's not quite looking like that floor general. He's averaging 4 assists to go along with 3 turnovers. It's very clear that he's not going to be a prolific 3-point shooter anytime soon. I think the most we could hope for is that those other aspects of his game could carry him to a decent career. Another comparison that's tough to look at right now is Jalen Green getting compared to the likes of Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal. Now again, these guys are just rookies. I still believe in the talent of Jalen Green. I know my comments are going to be filled with, oh, these are just comparisons of these guys' play styles. And yes, I get that to a degree, but we're not seeing second rounders getting these kind of comparisons. And it's not like Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal are so similar to the point you can justify it being just a playstyle comparison. These are 2 guys that had solid rookie seasons and have gone on to become 2 of the best shooting guards in the whole entire league. Expecting great things after what we saw from Green in the G League seemed fair, but this year, he's averaged just 14 points, shooting 38% from the field and 30% from 3. It's sad to see, but I truly do think he can get back on track to those preseason comparisons. Then we've got some players that just crushed their comparison, but it's mainly a product of where they were drafted, as it's a little ridiculous to compare a second rounder to LeBron James, but they're still worth mentioning. One of the most surprising rookies this year is Bulls second rounder Ayo Dosunmu. He received the comparison of DeLon Wright coming into the draft, which didn't sound too terrible. Wright has always been a solid 2-way combo guard, which made sense for Dosunmu, as it wasn't clear what position he would be at the NBA level. Looking back though, it's kind of crazy he fell so far in the draft. Well, yes, he spent 3 years at Illinois. He averaged 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, shooting 49% from the field and 39% from 3. This season, since getting a huge jump in his role, he's taken full advantage, averaging 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 49% from the field and 39% from 3, which would crush any of DeLon Wright's career averages. He's looked comfortable at the point guard position, and I'm really interested to see where he fits into this rotation going forward. Then we've got another super impressive second rounder, Herbert Jones of the New Orleans Pelicans. He received the comparison of Wes Iwundu, which is one of the most random comparisons I've ever seen. A guy that's been in the league since 2017, making a name for himself on the defensive end, while averaging 4 points, shooting with terrible efficiency. Herbert has looked like a future 2-way beast, averaging 13 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block, shooting 52% from the field and 38% from 3 in the last 24 games. His future is looking pretty bright. I'm not sure I can say the same for Wes. Lastly, I want to mention a top pick that's destroying their comparison, not for a good or bad reason. They're just a lot different than we expected, and that's Evan Mobley. Coming into the draft, we saw a comparison over and over and over and over again of guys like Chris Bosh and Pau Gasol. Almost all of his comparisons came from his size and what he could do on the offensive side. There were still decent expectations for him as a defender, but the perceived upside that led to him becoming the 3rd overall pick in the draft stemmed a lot from his offense. Now, these haven't been terrible comparisons on that end. This year he's averaging 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. But if we knew how elite of a defender he would be, I think most everyone would be taking a different route with their comparison. He's averaged nearly 2 blocks a game. He showed off his elite rim protecting and defensive versatility as just a rookie. He's legitimately already an elite defender. It's a huge reason the Cavs have put together such a strong season. What he's done on the offensive side, while impressive, wouldn't have him at the top of the Rookie of the Year race. What he's done on the defensive end has made him the runaway favorite. But that's the video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.